Hello, everybody. It is Heo Spaghettio putting on his best Anthony Fantano impression for today's episode of My Vinyls, where I'm covering one of the earliest vinyls that I got, and also probably the most well-known album that I've covered thus far in the series, Dawn FM by The Weeknd. I picked up this vinyl at Target, like a good amount of my vinyls. Mostly because I really enjoy the album and I really enjoyed this cool custom art on the cover and back and also on the inside. This is a book vinyl, meaning it opens up. It has 2 discs and it's very high quality. I've noticed while playing it, I don't have the best record player. But this record was what made me learn the difference between old and new vinyl records. Basically, new records are heavier. So when the vinyl player is running the needle across it, it messes something up apparently, and it's more likely to skip, which it does. New records skip a lot more often than old ones on my record player, which is why I'm planning on getting a new one very soon, which will hopefully also sort of make it so I get more records, because I really love record collecting. So, as you can see on the front, you have special art. I think this was Target exclusive art, although with this album in specific, there are a lot of exclusive arts. There are at least maybe 10 different cover arts for the vinyls and CDs that I've seen, so it varies a lot. On the back, you can see just some pretty standard 80s style artwork, seeming that like space is cracked open almost. You can see that it was released by EXO and Republic Records, The Weeknd, and yeah, you can see on the side, maybe I'll get it closer, it says Dawn FM right there, all pretty standard stuff. And on the inside, you have this beautiful artwork. I think it's expanded on the artwork on the front. And it seems on the back, you kind of have that cracked sunset. And it's just great. It fits the album perfectly. I'll be talking about the album very soon. But when you pull out disc 1, you'll see that it is in a disc cover. And when you take it out, it's this gorgeous silver. This gorgeous silver with a great pattern or design on it, and a great sticker in the center of the artwork on the back. Disc 1, it doesn't tell you directly on the record what songs it has. I'm not entirely sure. I guess I won't be saying my favorite song on each side of the record, on each side of both of the records, because I frankly am not sure. I guess I'll just say my favorite songs on the record are definitely Out of Time, which I think was the biggest hit off of the record, as well as Sacrifice. I also enjoy the one single that he released for the album, Take My Breath. As for deep cuts, I quite enjoy Starry Eyes and How Can I Make You Love Me, although I'm not sure if that's really a deep cut. He did a lot of remix singles after the album released, like almost too many, and none of the remixes were really that good. You can see disc 2 is a lot of the same as disc 1. Pull it out of the disc cover, you get a great sort of silver pattern. You get disc 2, side A and B. I'm not entirely sure what's on these. Oh, I also really enjoy the album closer, Phantom Regret by Jim. I'm surprised at the... Whoa, don't want to drop that. At the end of a bunch of the songs, The Weeknd adds in these radio host or radio transitions, which I really like. It's like this album of The Weeknd's is the most based in a concept, I believe, and it's also, I think, the most consistent with its sound. The beginning is very loaded with hits, more so than the end, although both sides do carry a lot of weight with the quality of the music. Um, but yeah, I really like the atmosphere that he puts forward on this album of it being a radio station where you're kind of transforming into an upper state of being. And I was really surprised. I didn't even realize it until I was told, but Jim Carrey is the voice of the radio host on this album, which surprised me. But looking back, it is definitely something that Jim Carrey would have done. But yeah, the poem that he read and I think wrote for the end of the album is very beautiful, if not a couple of lines are a bit immature. I would no, maybe not immature, just like okay, let me provide some context. Last summer I was at a family reunion and we always have a poetry night, and I really wanted to um recite Phantom Regret by Jim Carrey. So I looked at the poem and I realized that I would have to take some stuff out and do some changes because there are references to getting stoned and a bunch of other drug references and a couple of, I hate to say it, but cringeworthy sort of sentences or phrases within it. So I had to change a couple of things just so that I could say it in front of my family without getting embarrassed or saying anything inappropriate for the situation. That's what I mean by immature, I guess. But yeah, when looking at the album as a whole, there are a lot of really good songs. The interludes, like this is a great example of interludes on an album really adding to the experience. Although some people would say that you skip them, when you're listening through the album as a whole, it really isn't the same without those interludes and those transitions of the radio station. If I were to give the album itself a rating, I would say it's a solid 7.8 out of 10, just because some of the songs are kind of bland when listening to it all the way through. It's a lot of the same, sort of, but there are no truly bad songs. So as an experience, I would say it's a 7.8. The vinyl record itself, despite my issues with getting it to play properly with all of the skipping that happens on it, it's a solid 9 out of 10 record just for the art and the quality of the records and just everything included. It's not as much of a storyteller record as Father John Misty's pure comedy. But it is a really good record for your collection. So if you're into sort of that 80s pop, sort of neo soul almost, maybe. I'm really bad. I'm really bad with genre labels, just because there's so many of them. I can't really wrap my head around what's what. But it's definitely an 80s synth wave pop album, sort of. If you're into that, and you like high quality records, then I would definitely get it for your collection. So yeah, highly recommend listening to the album and also getting the vinyl record for it. I'm not sure about the CD or cassette because I don't collect those. Except for, I actually have one cassette in my collection, which is for Naked Noise 5, which is it's a music, I wouldn't say festival, it's a music show, just improv drone music. I got this t-shirt because of it for the Ithaca Underground. I loved going there, but that's the one cassette. That's literally the only cassette I own. I don't even have a cassette player. I just really wanted the cassette itself because I love supporting Ithaca Underground and everything that they're doing. So yeah, pick this up if you haven't and it sounds cool to you. And that is just over the 10-minute mark. So that's the video. Bye-bye.